So the Switch 2 has been out for a few months now, and for a console that's just been launched recently, it's got a pretty decent lineup of games already released and a slate of upcoming games. But we got 7+ years of this new generation that's gonna be full of potential games that we can predict and those Nintendo surprises that we don't even see coming. So hit the like button, sub to the channel, and sit back while I tell you the games that I personally want most from the Switch 2 generation. Starting with a good new Pokemon gen. Pokemon is one of the few series in the Switch 1 generation that overall disappointed. Like, Nintendo stepped up their game with so many of their series, like Zelda went open world, Kirby went 3D, Sandbox Mario came back, 2D and 3D Metroid came back, but like Pokemon was one of the few disappointments from the Switch 1. And I know Nintendo doesn't develop the games, Game Freak does, but I mean, they appear on Nintendo consoles. Nintendo owns like a third of the Pokemon IP or whatever. There's no way Nintendo doesn't have the influence to step in and be like, you guys need to step your game up and raise it to the level of polish that in-house Nintendo development is known for. Like, there's no way Nintendo doesn't have that kind of sway within the Pokemon company. Sword and Shield, very mediocre. Scarlet and Violet, mediocre in some ways, but very decent in other ways, but you couldn't even enjoy it because the performance was trash. Maybe now it's more enjoyable on the Switch 2 and it runs better, but still, that's the mainline series, and it hasn't evolved to the expectations of fans over the last, 25 years? And then you had Legends Arceus, which was a great evolution in the direction fans have been waiting for, but it's not really a mainline game, it's kind of like a side series. And now Legends ZA just came out, and the only interesting thing about that game is the battle system. Now, speaking of Pokemon, Gen 1 and Gen 2 were like my whole life, and after that, I kind of lost interest. But over time, I kept hearing about how amazing Gen 5 was. Pokemon Black and White, and also Pokemon Black and White 2. Every generation, we get a remake of a previous generation. And next up is Gen 5. Pokemon Black and White are the next Pokemon games in line for a remake. I mean, this is all but guaranteed. I'm pretty sure this is going to happen during the Switch 2 generation at some point, and I am stoked for this. I cannot wait. I heard so much about Black and White. All I can hope is that they do a really good job with it and not like a mediocre job that they did with the Gen 4 remakes. Also, what are they going to do about Black 2 and White 2? Because I know that those aren't supposed to be aren't like the same version, but the definitive. Those are like actual sequels. So I'm wondering how they're going to integrate that whole idea into the Gen 5 remakes. Whatever approach they take, I hope it's going to be good, because I've been really looking forward to trying out this generation that I missed out on. And speaking of remakes, moving on to another one, the Zelda Oracle games. I really hope they take the engine that they use for the Link's Awakening remake and then for Echoes of Wisdom and use it to remake the Oracle games. It just makes so much sense. The Game Boy Zeldas are a little bit hard to go back to graphically and functionally. Those are two of the more unique, interesting Zelda games. And I think the Oracle incarnation of Link is the same one as like Link to the Past and Link's Awakening, so there's just so many reasons for it. And it's gonna be a while before the next new 2D or new 3D Zelda, so they're gonna have to do something to fill in the spaces every year. And hopefully another Zelda remake that they're considering, that I've heard plenty of rumors and possible leaks about, the Ocarina of Time remake. I mean, that would just be amazing. Like, I love my Majora's Mask 3DS, and I love the 3D remasters of both Ocarina and Majora on that thing, and I love having a reason to go back to that thing. But damn, if they make fully from the ground faithful remakes of Ocarina and presumably Majora, because I would hope that they would do both. You could never do a new Zelda ever again, just give me that, I'd be happy. There's already enough Zelda in my life. And then one more remake that I would love to see on the Switch 2, Earthbound. The original is amazing, and it's aged well in a lot of ways, but in some ways it hasn't, right? The inventory system. And plus, how amazing would it be to just get a fully remade, faithful Earthbound remake? Same writing, same everything, they just, lots of quality of life improvements and better graphics. What kind of art style? I don't know, a lot of people say they want the clay models that like kind of appeared in the Earthbound player's guide all those years ago, and that would look cool, like a clay stop motion kind of art style. That would be cool, but I don't know, it seems kind of too much. I always thought the Link's Awakening art style would be amazing for that because it looks all plastic and toy-like. I always thought that would make for a great Earthbound remake, but either way, I mean, Earthbound is now a cult classic and it gets a lot of reverence these days, but even then, to fully remake it would just give it a brand new lease on life and possibly gain it the audience and attention that it deserved all that time ago back in the 90s. And as much as I love playing the original, I would love a remake of Earthbound. But if there's one thing they should do even more than that, is just release Mother 3 already. Are you kidding? Dude, I was so positive, I was so sure that they would finally release Mother 3 in the Switch 1 gen, because this is the most successful they've ever been. And they still could, because if they do ever release it, it would most definitely be on the Game Boy Advance NSO app, and that's also available on Switch 1, so if they do release it on Switch 2, it will also come to Switch 1, I'm sure, but just the fact that they waited till the Switch 2 gen to do it, and they didn't actually do it, and it was re-released in Japan. It always gets re-released in Japan. But okay, it's fine. I don't want to get mad here. This is a happy video. Let's move on to the next game, a new Paper Mario. Hopefully, in the style of the old Paper Marios that all the Paper Mario fans wanted to go back to. Origami King took a few steps in a few of the right directions. I think it was great. I loved it. It was really fun. It was really funny. I thought the writing was hilarious. But then, they remade, not even remastered, they remade Thousand Year Door and perfected it, and it's amazing. And just the fact that they revisited that game after 20-something years in the years since without even like mentioning it, you know, like sometimes an anniversary for a game will come up and they'll be like, hey, happy anniversary to freaking Kirby and the whatever. They've never done anything like that for Paper Mario, let alone the fan favorite entry. But then they just fully remade it and it's amazing, and now it sold pretty well. And assuming that the Mario and Luigi series is kind of dead in the water without Alpha Dream and also with poor sales of the brand new one, I feel like Paper Mario is now their default Mario RPG, and they're just gonna have to focus on that one, which makes me so happy because I think that's the best one out of all three. So yeah, new Paper Mario that feels a lot like the old Paper Marios. Next up, Pikmin 5. I finally got into the Pikmin series during the Switch 1 generation, and man, what an adorably stressful, fun, amazing, annoying, hard, simple, fucking amazing series. Totally love it now. Huge Pikmin fan. Thank you, Arlo. But there was a long wait between 3 and 4. I wasn't even a fan at the time, but I knew that much. And hopefully with how decently successful and popular 4 was, hopefully it won't take long for 5. Another 4 that took a very long time was Metroid Prime 4. Hopefully there will be a Metroid Prime 5 for Switch 2, and hopefully it won't take nearly as long as this one. Hopefully they already have stuff planned out. But one game I don't think will be too long before we finally see it and get it is Luigi's Mansion 4. And that makes me so happy. The original Luigi's Mansion was one of my favorite games. It's one of my favorite series. It's Mario, but it's Luigi and it's a spooky horror thing. Of course I love it. 2 was okay. 3 was amazing. That was the follow-up to the original that me and a lot of other fans were waiting for. And that sold insanely well. Like, Luigi's Mansion is now one of their big series, and I think they know that, and hopefully Next Level Games is working on an amazing 4th game. I already made a whole video about what I would want from that game, but let me just put it like this. I want a ghost town, like an open world-ish, full ghost town to explore with several mansions, kind of like All God's Village from Fatal Frame 2, but that's what I want. I want Luigi's Mansion 4, Silent Hill. Now, the next game I would have said I wanted was a brand new Donkey Kong. Specifically, a brand new 3D Donkey Kong. But we can check that off the list. But the next game I would want, of course, is the next 3D Mario. And I'm kind of worried about this one because, as we all know, it's the 3D Mario team that made DK Bonanza. And I don't know if the entire team was only working on that, or if just part of them was working on that, or if they're working on both, or if they split up the teams to work on both series. So 3D Mario and hopefully Sandbox Mario specifically. Next, another 3D Kirby game. I really hope that was not just like some one-off experiment and they're just gonna go back to doing only 2D games for pretty much all the time. Forgotten Lands was fucking incredible. That's like one of my favorite games now, one of my favorite games on the Switch. Here's one that I honestly don't think we'll even get, but I feel like it's worth mentioning because I want it. 3D Yoshi. I mean, after Kirby finally went 3D and 3D Donkey Kong finally came back, I was hoping they'd finally take more of their series into the third dimension, but oh, what a surprise. The next Yoshi game is yet again another 2D game. Yoshi and the fucking Book of Mystery or whatever the hell. And you know what? It looks good. Hopefully it is good. It looks pretty decent. But dude, like a 3D Yoshi game? Like, Yoshi is such a fucking cool and cute character. Like, he would be so cool for like a Banjo-Kazooie type of 3D platformer. Alright, next two games. New Star Fox and new F-Zero. Along with Metroid, Nintendo's two other highly neglected sci-fi series that are actually insanely good, and two of the few IPs that didn't get a new entry on the Switch 1. So I think they're poised for a comeback on the Switch 2. Most likely Star Fox, probably F-Zero 2. And finally, the last thing that I really want for the Switch 2 that I could think of as far as Nintendo first-party games go, I don't really think we need a new Smash Brothers this generation, because Ultimate is still Ultimate. It's perfect. And what I would really want instead is another Fighter Pass. And those are all the games that I personally want the most from the Switch 2 generation. But what about you? Hit the like button, sub to the channel, and let me know in the comments what Switch 2 games you want to see the most.